obedience to authority. Does the claim that an excessive desire to please authority may cause people to act unethically ring true to you? I think it is true that the excessive desire to please authority will cause people to act unethically, because people will do anything in order to please their bosses, regardless of unethical action or behavior. Some people please their boss because they want to get the promotion of the job, or some afraid of being fired from a job if they do not obey the boss's order. Therefore, all of these reasons can bring the one to do unethical things, which can affect and impact other people or society. Can you think of a situation where you deferred to authority and later regret it? Perhaps because you facilitated a stupid decision that you could have stopped. Perhaps because you facilitated an unethical decision that you could have stopped. It happens all the times in the working place where there are a boss or his or her subordinate, so that sometimes boss will order their subordinate to do the work that is unethical, and it actually saves a lot of time and working very well, but also has the consequences afterward. Anyways, as a subordinate, he or she will obey the boss's order first, even though they will regret with their action. So it is very common that everyone has already faced with the situation like this, and we cannot totally avoid it. Which is scarier, that Joe might not have the courage to stand up to a superior requesting unethical action because Joe doesn't want to lose this job, or that Joe might not even see the ethical issue because he is so intent upon pleasing the boss. The fact that Joe not even see the ethical issue is much more scarier than not having the courage to stand up against the superior, because even if Joe did an unethical thing by the order of his authority, but in fact he realized that his action is not totally right and ethical, so he still has a chance to fix or solve that into the right way. On the contrary, if Joe is only concerned and focused about pleasing his boss and dismiss all of his action, whether they are going to be unethical or not, that means he don't know which action is right or wrong, so he won't have chance to fix it after the action are taken. It is much more little than knowing but still doing it, because if the action is on fatal level, the one who recognizes the severity level can actually stop those actions if it is necessary. Does Bud Crow's explanation for how he went off the ethical rails sound plausible to you? It sounds not possible to me, because as he is instructed to invade into Daniel's office, so it is very common sense thing that this is not right action to take, even it is an order from his authority. But everyone should know that this action is illegal. But in the video mentioned that he's not even activate his own ethical sense, or maybe he is trying to accomplish the task in order to get the rewards from his boss, so it may concern with the personal financial difficulties of Bud Crow. How can people guard against suspending their own ethical judgment in order to unduly defer to authority? First, you have to be honest with yourself that you will not dismiss the ethical issue that occur from your action. So that means if you see unethical things, you should consider about it instead of letting it go, because that will cause the problem in the future, even all of these are from your authority order. Secondly, you have to be brave and having the courage to argue against your boss. Sometimes it is not necessary to oppose against him or her directly, because that will embarrass your boss as you're trying to upstate him or her in the public. Instead, you can contact or send a signal indirectly to them without trying to upstate your bosses. So maybe you can talk to them in private, and that's the safe way of telling the boss you are not agree with them. at the same time securing your employment as well. Following is a description from Professor G. Prince of Stanley Milgram's famous experiment on obedience to authority. Read the description and tell the class how you think that you would have acted had you been one of the subjects of the experiment. If I had been one of the subjects of the experiment, I would reject to do so because it is not the right thing to take the experiment while some people get shocked by electrics. There are many ways to do the experiment and not requiring people to get punished by the electrical shock, even though they said that this is very crucial and the task has to be complete. But I will refuse to do it anyways because it is too cruel to hurt other people. All of the subjects have seen the voltage switch, which are arranged from low to high voltage, so everyone already knows that the volunteers will be shocked by very high electrical voltage, which is sound terrifying for me.